Hi, and welcome back to the 8-Bit Retro Refix, and on this week's episode we're going to go back and we're going to have a look at the CD32. I did do a video a few months back where the CD32 wouldn't switch on for the first sort of 5-10 minutes. You had to switch it on and just leave it, keep hitting reset now and again, and then eventually it will come on. We changed a couple of capacitors in there that were bulging. And we thought it had made a difference to it because I left it 24 hours and tried it again and it booted straight up. But after I left it a week or two and tried it again, it was still doing the same thing. And it were also struggling reading discs as well. So what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to completely recap this complete CD32 of all its capacitors. And we're also going to take a look at the laser. Neil from Retro For You wrote me another disc. My burner's packed up, so I couldn't write another disc. I do have Cannon fodder as an original, but I do like to preserve the discs, so I do like to run backups. When I put Cannon fodder into this one, it took it about 10 minutes before the game came on, and I was thinking it might have been a poor disc or something like that. So he wrote me another disc, and I've tried that, and you'll see in the video that it takes absolutely forever. So what I did is I ordered another laser for it. And I put a brand new laser into it, lubed all the rails, etc. Give it a good service, and now it's should be back up and running. But we'll have a look at that in the video. So let's get to it. Hi, so this is the CD32 that was in the previous episode where we changed two of the capacitors to see if it would stop. The problem with it starting, it started up, you switch it on and it takes about 5 or 10 minutes before it wakes up. I was told by the seller that if you keep pressing reset it'll come on quicker, but as we know that's still not right, is it? So we changed them two capacitors to see if we could make a difference, and there was on the power rails. So I was hoping that that would have rectified that issue. It seemed like it did because I tried it 24 hours later and it seemed to start up okay. And then I left it for a while and it was just the same. So them two capacitors didn't make a difference on that previous video like we first initially thought. So on this one we're going to strip it down and we're going to change all the capacitors, and we'll see if this makes it work. I'm not going to take you into strip down. If you want to see how to strip a CD32 down, I'll pop a link in my description. You can jump back to the first video where I tore it down and did the first two capacitors. So I'm just going to strip this down now to get us back down to the motherboard, and with the power of YouTube we're back. So here we are with the motherboard. We did change this cap, so what I'm going to do is, like I always like to do, is I'm going to put a mark on every one that I've done. So if I put that mark there, I put a mark on that one, I know I've done them too. We've got these around here, and all these to go to strip out. That looks very bulgy at the top of that cap. Don't know whether you can quite make that out. I shall try and lift it up so you can see, but see it? This one here. You can see, sort of see the top is bulging. That's the first time I've ever seen a surface mount cap bulge. They normally leak, but there you go. So I'm going to get these off. I've watched quite a few videos of removing caps. I've done it quite a few different ways. I've done heat. The only way I haven't tried is with tweezers, and I still need to get hold of some tweezers really. I was going to wait to get some, but I just haven't had the time to get around to doing it, to be fair. So I'm going to try the snip method. I'm watching Captain Commodore's video, and it was sort of rated from another guy that does it. So what you have to make sure you have to do is where the two solder points are, just go straight in and as low as you possibly can, and put your finger on the top and snip it off. It'll just leave a metal ring around it, so then you can go in and just snip that metal ring and lift it off. So that's what I'm going to do now. and we'll get all these caps off. But before I do that, this board seems to have every cap. So before I do that, I am going to take a picture of my board. I have watched other videos, and some of these caps are not here. They're not required, and I don't know why. So what we'll do is we'll just take a picture. So I've got reference. So I've got 1, 2, 3 there, 2 down there. These are very tiny, are these. Very, 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 very tiny, are these. Minute. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll show you doing one, and then I shall proceed. So I've gone to this. What we do is move them about as best as you can, going low as you possibly can, and snip. That's the first one off. I'm just going to go and can't break that. Mine doesn't break. I've got my little snips. I've lost an end, so I'm just going to try and lift that gently, like that. So that comes off, and we'll make sure with the tweezers to be easier with them, and we'll make sure that's off there. Then it leaves us with that little black pad at the bottom. It's supposed to have got some nipples on there, but if you just lift that back corner there, that should just peel off, and then it leaves us with the pins stuck up. So that come off really, really clean. So I'm going to go around now and remove all these capacitors in a bit of montage, and then we'll take a look at the board after I've got them all off. Wow. As per normal, bloody camera stops recording, doesn't it? So I've gone all the way through that lot. I've changed all the capacitors, every single one of them, all the way around here. I was going to do you a full montage. I was recording it, or thought I was recording it, and the camera decided to pack up. Thank you very much, Mr. Camera. So yeah, so I mean we had to do a bodge wire on this one because it had broken a trace away from the edge of that chip just there. I'll pop a picture up so you can have a look at that and what I did with that. And there is another one right down here. It's just tucked away down that side there. I've had to put another jump wire in there to rectify that. Again, I'll put another picture up there for you so you can take a look at that. So I'm just going to flick this switch on now. You guys are not going to be able to see it on the screen, but you will hear it. And I'll see if I can record with my other phone. So again, we're going to switch that on now. Camera's going to be a little bit wobbly, so I do apologise. But we'll flick that switch. You should be able to hear it, and you should be able to see it on screen. So hopefully it's going to start up first time. I've not plugged it in. I've not started it since I did that other video. So it has been sat for quite a long time, a good few months, not working, which I've purposely done it this way. Normally I like to start things up before I start working on it to make sure it's working first. But I didn't want to start this one up because I knew if I started it up, then it wouldn't show me that error at the end. So let's flick that switch and let's see if it works. Oh, we've got a pulse on the screen. Oh, we got it. Oh, 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 what? Yay! Wow, that surprised me. And it doesn't wait anymore, it just boots straight up, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's it. So I'm going to put this back together now, and I'm going to test a disc that I got off Neil, Retro for You, when we were at the Amiga Club, because it was booting the cannon fodder very slowly originally. I have got another new laser for it, just in case. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to pop the top on, and then we'll see what it's like at reading discs now. And then that might be another video for doing the laser in here as well. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I'm just going to switch it off now. I'm just going to put the top on. I'm not going to wire it all up and everything. I'm just going to put literally the top down on top of it with the ribbon cable in and the connector plugged in, so we can see whether it's actually doing anything or not. What I'm going to do is I've got a mouse mat at the side here, so I'm going to give it a little bit of protection with the mouse mat, and I'm just going to sit that over the top like that, and then we'll put the other unit on top. Okay, so I'll be back in a tick. Right, so we've got two discs. We've got Retro for You's cannon fodder, which you wrote, thank you very much, Neil. And we have got my original one here. So I'm going to put the original one in first to see how long that takes to boot up. But yeah, let's try that. And I'm just going to flick the switch now, and we'll see how long that takes. Go back to my wobbly screen. Right, so let's see how long this takes. There's that switch. Switch up. Just spinning. Got a good reading, look. So this took absolutely ages before. But we still could have a problem with the reading of this disc. So it looks like we're still having trouble with reading of discs. I was hoping it was just going to be the capacitors, but it's not. So we're already into a minute. So quite potentially we could be looking at a laser. It does work, it just takes a long time to read that disc. So I'll skip you through until it's booted, and I'll tell you what time it takes, or how long it took. Right, so it's still not reading that disc properly. We're nearly up at 4 minutes now, and we're still on this same screen. So what I'm going to do is change the disc. So let's have a look at Neil's Retro for You disc and see if it makes a difference. And that one's not reading properly neither. I keep hearing it rebooting every 2 minutes, so I'm just going to try a reset. Just sound to be reading it a little bit better. Nope, this stopped again, spinning up again. So nope, it's still not booting that. So I'm going to try an original now. We're going to try Nigel Mansell's original disc. So we'll see what that does. Oh, it said accessing disk, didn't it, when I took that out? We'll reset for Nigel Mansell, seeing as this is an original disc. And as you can see, with the original disc, it's booting up fine and quickly. It's just copies it seems to be struggling with, or backups. Yep, so that works, doesn't it? Let's take that one back out again. Put Neil's cannon fodder back in. Let's have a look at that one again. Oh, that's come up a bit quicker, hasn't it? So it seems to struggle a little bit, doesn't it, on copied discs, or backup discs if you like. I don't like running originals really, I like to preserve them and run up on a backup. I do have cannon fodder as an original, but I do like to run backups wherever I possibly can, just to save the originals from getting scratched and damaged. So this is not working, if you can see in there. You can see the disc spinning. Don't know whether you can hear it. So it's not actually doing anything. It's trying. But yeah, we're struggling with discs on that. It's just stopped, look. It'll start again. We said if we put weight on the top, sometimes that helps. So let's put a bit of weight on top of the disk drive. Ooh. Ooh. Doesn't like that, does it? Let's take a look at that disc. Well, Neil, that's a bit on the scratch side, mate. So I think I'm going to have to get hold of another disc and try it, a new disc that's not as damaged as that. Let's have a look at the other one, the other cannon fodder one that I have. Ooh, look at the state of that. Look, was that really nice? Scratch, look of it, is it? It could be reflection. Right across that disc. Yeah. So when we look at his Nigel Mansell one, that's not bad at all. So we'll go up and put it back in. Yeah, it doesn't have any problems, does it, reading originals? So yeah, it's alright. Time to put this thing back together. So as I decided to stuff it, I'm going to change that laser. So I mean, as far as I'm aware, it's fairly easy. Oh, we do have to nip that in the back of there and push that gear out. Like that. Get out of there. There is a little 2 plug sockets at the back here to remove these if they'll come out easy enough. There, that out. So that's them out, and I believe that you can just push that back there like that into there, and then the laser should just come straight out. That's the laser caddy straight out. So I'm hoping this is just going to be a straight away swap over. I don't know, because I've not used one of these before. Does look like the anti-static thing's missing off the back there. does look a good inside there, so we'll just go for it, see what happens. Slice up there nicely, try not to touch the laser with my fingers. Red plug onto red. White onto white. There we go. Oh, fuck off. A little bit of gungy goo on here. And we'll slot that back into the top. Where did that go? Oh yeah, right in there, look. Just make sure that you get both ears in place properly before you click it down. Just turn it a little bit. Finishes in. Moves quite freely. So there was only 4 screws to take this out. 3, 4. 3, 4. To swap this over. So it's quite easy to remove. There is an adjuster pot, if you can see just under there, look. Just in case it's out, so you can twiddle with it, increase the laser. We should really set this up on a oscilloscope, but I'm hoping that it'll have already been set correctly. So we can sort of move on from there. We'll clean the laser again, don't worry. We'll just run it up down a little bit. Put a little bit on there. Slide your rod. Move that back up the other way. Be careful you don't bust these gears, because you ain't replacing them. Tiny little bit on there, that's all it needs really. That onto there, a little bit of IPA on the laser beam. And then we'll put it all back together. And we'll see if the games work again. Don't push down on here too hard, just gently, gently. So we can put this cap back on now. So we'll get that back in the lid and get it all back together, and then I'll come back to you and we'll test it again. So we've swapped the laser, I've built it all back up again. We've got the copy of Cannon fodder from Neil that's in there. That's the old laser now. Laser works, but it reads copy poorly. So I'll keep that laser because it'll come in handy in the future in case I get one ever again that doesn't read anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just pop the other camera on for you and we'll take a look at how it boots. So it's going to be a bit wobbly again, sorry about that because I'm holding this one. So let's flick that switch and see how quickly this one comes on then. Got that, accessing CD32, please wait. Used to sit here for absolutely ages. So we'll see what it does now. Oh, it's changing. So we didn't even get to that screen, did we, last time? We got to about 4 minutes. We're now at about 50 seconds. And we have music. And it's booting. Yay! So we've now got a recapped Amiga with a brand new laser in there. So I can start playing some games on the old CD32 now. I said Amiga then, didn't I? Well, it is an Amiga really, isn't it? It is Amiga CD32. So yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to put all the screws back in and then we'll have a chat at the end. So yeah, that were a long drawn out process, wasn't it? It took a lot of doing, did that, to be honest. We went for the snip method for the capacitors. You put your thumb down on top of the capacitor, you go down with your snips as low as you possibly can with that and cut straight across in parallel with the positive and negative terminals. You don't want to be pulling them together, you want to go straight across. It does leave a little metal ring round, so you can snip the ring and lift the ring up, and then you can break the plastic bit off, or if it's still got knobbles on top of the pins, you just chop them off and you can lift that plastic piece off and then take the legs off them with a soldering iron. We did see that one of the capacitors, I think it was 409 or 309, something like that, around about there. Put a picture up there for you, look. As soon as I touched it with the snips, I didn't even grip and it sort of fell straight off. And it was like, yeah, that had a lot of corrosion underneath there, which leads me to think maybe that was the cap that was bad for this one. There were another one down at the bottom of the board. It's there, look. That one decided to destroy the pad as well. It's nothing to do with snipping. It's to do with the acid coming out of the capacitors, the electrolyte, and going under and corroding the boards, and it sinks underneath the pad, etc., and goes underneath there and rots them off. Yes, snipping is a little bit dangerous, but I've done it in the past before. There's been quite good results with it before, and I was quite surprised when this did it, but there's a lot of capacitors in there. So we fixed that. We fixed them the two missing pads that were on it. We've completely recapped it, put a new laser in it, and it's up and running. And it's booting very quickly now. As I said previously, cannon fodder used to take about 5 or 10 minutes before the console would even come on. And it used to take 5 or 10 minutes for the disk reading and trying to read it and trying to read it and trying to read it for ages. And I thought it might have been down to capacitors. Yeah, okay, it could have been a laser, but I thought it might have been down to capacitors. So we did the capacitors and it was still doing the same thing on the reading the discs. Boot wise, presto, it comes up. Awesome stuff. Disc wise, boo. So we changed the laser in there, and now both my copy of the cannon fodder and the one that Neil did from Retro for You both boot with under a minute now. So that's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely awesome that I've now got a fully operational CD32 in the collection. So thanks for watching. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Patreons. I'd like to give a big shout out to the subscribers. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. Drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Also, we're in the YouTube Retro Repairers group. There's quite a few of us in there now. I'll drop the link in the description so you can check out the other channels of the main people in the group. If you would like to come on the live streams that we do end of once a month, drop me a message. If you'd like to join the Facebook group, more than welcome. Links in the description. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.